step into the lab, lights hum like a starship dock. Pine logs stacked like data banks in a cube block. I calibrate climates while the timeline bends, writing fungal code loops only mycelium sends. I navigate ecosystems with instinctive precision. Every egg played a portal to a parallel vision. Mentorships spin up like reactors at dawn. You want a culture revolution, then you better respond. We fracture the boundaries of the natural order, make Reishi bloom sideways like a space-time border. I'm an Appalachian alchemist, wild ridge born, with a druid's intuition and a mind full of spores.
Keep spawning culture.
We're the network underfoot, the unseen sculpture.
Keep spawning culture.
Check. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good Thursday. Honestly, my day's been kind of rough. Everything I have touched is broken today. It has been one of those horrendous days. I broke our laser today. Trying to make signs for the plant nursery. I was working in the lab and I broke the petri dish that I used. That I just grabbed it. All I did was grab that glass petri dish and it busted in my hand. Luckily, it didn't cut me. So it's been just a weird, rough day. And in the spirit of being authentically me for you guys, it's been a rough day. But I hope everybody else is having a good day. It's that's the way we have it. We have our ups and downs. So today I'm exhausted. We're going to make this a fairly short one, about an hour long or so. I'm not going to do my normal 3 hours. You guys are welcome to hammer me with questions all you want. We also have the cardboard spawn that we made last week. So I've got some, we'll do a close up or something of that, of the liquid culture and the grain one. And it'll be pretty obvious, I think, to everybody which one seems to work better. So, but it's the grain spawn one. As you guys might imagine, the grain spawn inoculated cardboard. But I'm hoping next week it'll be the grain spawn one should be finished, and we'll put the cardboard spawn to use. So I'll pull that out here and show it in a little bit. It is a beautiful day outside. Been kind of itching to get out there myself at some point, and I might try to have a little fire tonight. And check the grow room today. We had a bunch of moon pearls growing. Cold room, checked it, and we've got cordyceps clubbing out like crazy now. Whereas I think last week we just had a little bit clubbing out, and it's clubbing out like crazy. So, oh, sorry, I see the question now. I've been out bioprospecting any new areas. Nothing new. Like area-wise, I've been revisiting some of the old haunts. Mossy Creek is always a really good one. So I was checking Mossy Creek. I just got my bike tires aired up. Brody was putting together a cart for the plant operation yesterday, and I asked him to air up my tires while he was working on that. And so I ended up getting that ready, and that's my main bioprospecting vehicle. So I do want to get out there and find some new spots. The lake has pretty much been calling me lately. There is a boy out there with my daughter. Who that boy? Why that boy? Where that boy from? Hey, Ted, that's enough. That's enough. Interesting. Boys. I don't like boys at this age. Teddy, that'll do. That'll do. So let's see. I've got some places on the lake. So there's a place here called Turkey Island. We actually went there during a bioprospecting trip that we did a video of. So I am getting my plant harvester's license renewed. And once I hit that, I'm going to be able to, there's not a fungal harvesting one, but I feel like the plant one kind of helps cover your butt. here in the state when you're hunting public lands and stuff. So I want to I want to do the fungi and plant bioprospecting. I got some friends that have started catching some fish and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But um, yeah, we've the plants. We pulled out a couple plants from the wetlands last year while we were out mushroom hunting, and I think I want to continue doing that on a larger and larger scale. So we'll definitely have some, and I'll show some spots for sure. Hey, Brody. It was right there. Okay. But yeah, what's up, Plunder Log? Hey yo, stumbling blocks and mountains abound. I'm struggling just to get my space ready to operate in a 12 by 4 or 12 by 24 shed. Stuck on water and plumbing. Capital is low, and she's too nervous to finish investing. Who's she? Oh, partner, that is. Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, I feel you there, man. Like I said, it's been a rough day here myself. I've like broke everything I've touched. So they do abound at times. But water and plumbing hopefully wasn't too bad, unless you've got city hookup, which can be kind of expensive. A lot of times plumbing's not that bad. A little help from the AI, and that can oftentimes help you out. Um, and yeah, if your capital investor is having a hard time, sometimes those constraints can be a good thing. So those constraints can help you come up with those creative solutions that are cheaper and better than the things that we would buy from, right? You would buy or pay to install or something like that. Who that boy is? Yeah, they just left. They came, dropped the truck off, and got in the van and left. So I don't know why Samantha's. My guess is it's Aislin's boyfriend, but I couldn't see for sure. It could be Aislinn runs track, so it could just be a boy from track. But who that boy is, right? Carrie Gray asks, I ordered moon pearls. Any advice on what to expect? Any differences in incubation and fruiting? Honestly, if you just treat it like King Blue, it works great. It does like cooler temperatures, just like most blue oysters do. But other than that, no, we've been watch oh, who did the video? Was it Renegade? I think it was Renegade. Let me double check that. I don't trust my brain at all today. Renegade mushrooms. So Renegade, yeah, he did Moon Pearls, Rifle Creek, and BS26. I think I can drop that in the chat, and it will work for you guys. So if you check this out, it'll kind of show you what to expect. I was supposed to collaborate on that video, but YouTube just kept making it to where I couldn't. Like, he would send me the collaboration link, and it would not work. So I don't know. I'm going to try to figure that out with him next time. But he did our Rifle Creek and BS26 and Moon Pearl comparison, and he basically just takes Moon Pearls out of the running because he's like, they look so different, they cook so different, that kind of thing. But it's pretty much a normal blue oyster until it gets to the grow room. I went into the grow room today, and there's a little bit of blotch on some of my blocks of Moon Pearls, but for the most part, it's not like, I'm not going to say blotch resistant, but it's pretty like normal as far as behavior goes in the grow room and blotch resistance and all that stuff. Wonder if we could use cordyceps as fishing bait. Little bright orange earthworm looks tasty to a giant largemouth. That would be interesting. I heard somewhere fairly recently that there's supposed to be something that comes out about fungi and fish. Where did I hear that? Where I guess there are some fish that eat fungi, or yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into it. But again, to remember, but I think that they will strike it. Now that said, it does look kind of wormy, and it's orange and bright. So I think you're right. At least for the beginning, like they may strike. You know, I've heard that about bass. I'm not a big bass fisherman. I'm typically more panfish. So like I do bluegill and bream and um, all that kind of stuff. Um, I'm more uh, I've caught bass and stuff, but I usually catch bass accidentally. I'm not normally going for bass. I'm not much of a sport fisherman. Now that said, I mean I know bass is you can eat it, especially striper. Watched that Renegade video yesterday. He's a great salesman for you. Now I have to try out the Rifle Creek. Yeah. Yep. Oh, I'm out of water. Dang it. No, soda it is. Yeah, I ought to. I wanted to give him. If I had thought about it, I would have given him an affiliate account, um, and given people a discount if they came through his video. I'm actually looking for people to kind of sell our strains and do affiliates, to do affiliate links and stuff. I think that I would really like to get into just the genetic churn, and then do these live streams. But I don't really know that I want to go back to videos all the time. It's a lot of work, and there's already people out there doing some good stuff, and so I'd kind of like to just support them, pay them their commissions, kind of thing. So I think I'm going to work my way towards that, and I'm just going to focus on the genetics as much as possible. I want to be a selective breeder. That's what I want to be for a living. I want to breed flowers and peppers and tomatoes and mushrooms and all that kind of stuff. So, but you should try out the Rifle Creek. Rifle Creek. I'm just now making some spawn of it. That's going to go in the grow room, and that is going to be for spores. And I'm going to start. I'm doing pulmonarius this year. This is my big one this year is pulmonarius. I'm going to dig into pulmonarius. I've never really dug and done a bunch of it. So, have mushrooms popping up in the garden. Took photos. Fed it to AI, which identified them as wine cap. Took more photos and took to local mycological society. They told me that mushrooms are agrocybe. Missed last. We missed last what? Yeah, I mean you gotta be careful with AI. AI is not never use that to identify and only that to identify. Experience definitely beats it. Especially when it comes to mushrooms. The AI is pretty good at plants. That's not necessarily so good with plant parts and stuff, but when it comes to mushrooms, you got to be really careful. I might use the AI to help me identify or point me in the direction of a mushroom, but it is never the final call. I always do the final comparison myself. And the weirder and that you go into the mushrooms, the less good the AI is going to be. So, Have you grown much cauliflower mushroom? I've never grown cauliflower mushroom. Sporastic crispa is all I can find online. I have a special one here I'm about to catch that no one has. Sporastic best soup I've ever had. Sporastic spathula. I'm not sure that I'm familiar with that. No, I did not mean Spartacus spatula. Or polyodon spathula, which is the Mississippi paddlefish. It really does not. There we go. Okay, yeah, I've seen this one. But I've never eaten it. But I've never grown any of the cauliflowers. I'm interested in them. I think they're super cool. But yeah, I'm not a huge forage guy. I tend to clone stuff, bring it back, and then grow it, and then eat it. But let me know how it goes because I know people do grow it, and I'm very interested in it because I've heard some really good medicinal stuff behind it. But afternoon, Scuba. What's up, Mr. Moss? Welcome, Merimit to Minute continue. It's been a while since I've tried to pronounce the name. Well, not much is up. We got cardboard update. I was telling people that I'm pretty tired today, so we're going to make it a fairly short one. It's going to be about an hour long or so. I am tired, and I don't know if the tiredness is showing through or what, but managed to bust our CO2 laser today. I have touched. I was just trying to grab and slide the petri dish that contains all my caps that soak in alcohol. I just grabbed it, and all I did was I barely grabbed it, and it just shattered in my hand. And I have broken everything I have touched today. It's been quite the downer. I've been I've been quite the just bull in a china shop today. Oh, check this out. You can see these from behind. Well, I didn't recognize you can see those behind me, but Ben 3D printed these for me. I was telling him about how much I hated the floating planters for the ponds out front. And so a little bit of mushroom substrate and some rocks and sand, and you put some plants in there, and it's got a foam flotation, but they're just 3D printed planters. These things are better quality than the ones you can find online. And so, yeah, I'm gonna start selling those along with the flowers that we've been doing. Full moon, yeah, it's tomorrow, isn't it? Is that today? I was thinking that the full moon was tomorrow, May 1st. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the full moon. I don't normally get down, but I've also been burning the candle on both ends. We bought out that operation across the county, and I had to finish it up on the 28th. So I got everything moved over. And then we got a plant sale this weekend. I've got all the normal mushroom stuff. We got a plant sale this coming Saturday and the one after at a trade show, and is just trying to prepare for all that stuff. And of course, I need that laser to make the stencils I was making for the signs, and broke it after I made the first stencil. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the full moon. It has been crazy today. Hold on one second. Okay, it's just a spam thing. All right. So here is the cardboard spawn that we made last week, a week ago today. This is the liquid culture inoculated one. And I can see growth. There's a little bit that's growing right there. But there is growth primarily in the corrugation. It's going to be a little hard to see because it's not super bright and white. Maybe I'll see some of that right there. There's white growing. If I get rid of that condensation. There you go. You guys leaving? You what? That's fine. You boys have fun. Love y'all. Please do. Keep me updated. All right, so your mom left again? Will you close the gate on your way out? So that was Hayden? Okay. Yeah. That's who that boy was. Let's see. Can you see? Oh, right there. So there's a nice spot of growth. And there's more further down. Dang it. Having a hard time with the floppy. But on the cardboard spawn, yeah, this is oyster. And so this is the grain spawn that we inoculated. So this was just we just boiled water and then soaked the cardboard in the boiled water. This is King Blue oyster. And you guys can see that, I mean, it's taken off. So this will be ready by next week. And so we may try to make some logs with this next week. We may try to set up outside, and I'll just grab the electric chainsaw and we'll start cutting some kerfs, and then we'll pull this cardboard spawn apart, and I'll show you guys how, I mean, it's real simple. I'm sure you guys understand the concept, but we'll just do it together, and I'll show you all how I work with it. And I love, as far as like log inoculation, cardboard is some of my favorite spawn to work with. So perfect time to take on Sam's orchid breeding project. It's not a bad idea. I might wait a year. So this entire space, so like all of that stuff that's right there, that's all getting put into the back room. We're making a new break room where our current packing room is. All of the packing room stuff is going to come out here, but so is the lab. The lab is actually coming out here to the main room. So we're going to have our front office space, a laboratory, and then the lab is doubling as a new studio space. So we'll have a new studio space for a variety of things. I mean, it's not just mushrooms, but mostly mushrooms. But I'm going to set the microscopes, the big screen TV, and we'll have the whole studio space out here. And then we'll have the break room back there, and then part of the packing room will probably still back there. But with that, we'll have the plant tissue culture set up, hopefully going as well. And yeah, like I said, that was the king blue oyster that we inoculated that with both liquid culture and grain spawn. And grain spawn's always, the kernel of grain acts like a little fat reserve, basically. Gives it energy to leap off with. The liquid culture has to land and start growing and start basically getting nutrients immediately where it lands. Hard to see. Can you remove the myceliated cardboard from the bag so we can see the growth? Not right now, I can't. We will next week. I mean, you can see the one like this easily enough. But, I mean, the one with the liquid culture, like it's just got some little fuzzy bits and stuff like that. It's not really super strong, and it is going to be hard to see, but I don't want to open it at this point. Let's see. You can see some growth there. It's just little spots at the moment. I guess the camera focuses a little bit better, a little further away, but there's a little bit of fuzz in the corrugation, in particular in the corrugation from the top, but that's the hardest to see from the condensation. And of course, see this little bit of growth here. See if I can. That's not wanting to move. There we go. Now that that's on the corrugation, well, we'll try to smush it down in there. Come on. Let's just get a little bit of pellicle or something. There it goes. I just used like what I use. I think I did 30 mils. I think I did 3 syringes worth into that. So just 30 mils of liquid culture. But yeah, and I also need to get the brood room for the fish brood stock needs to be expanded out. So I've just got a lot of projects going on all at once, and it's mainly just just work that needs to be done. I mean, it's not like the main thing is just I don't have enough hours in the day right now. Plus, I've got to do all the normal things like self-care and family-oriented stuff, which, and spring. I mean, you guys know how it is. Spring's hard when you're farming or gardening. It's always whenever you start pushing things really, really hard. But it's good. It's a good kind of tired. Most days I'm really, really happy to be this tired. So good kind of tired. That's a lot. 30 mils. Do you sell the king? I do absolutely sell it. Yeah, it's my strain. I better sell it. I'm the one that created it. But yeah, I've got it on the website. King Blue, and then the Moon Pearl is a descendant of it. And we just released a new strain called KBPF 1, which is the King Blue cross with Pathfinder, first in the series. And that one I am really impressed with. So I want to get some better photos of it first, though. Not first, but I'm selling it, but I want to get some better photos to get on the website. And 30 mils is sounds like a lot, but I mean, I was back there earlier and I was inoculating grain bags with anywhere from 60 to 100 milliliters per 5-pound grain bag. So you can go quite heavy with liquid culture if it's clean. Obviously, if it was bacterial or whatever and I added that much, it would be a bacterial soup. I guess I'm close some tabs up real quick and turn my fan on. I forgot about turning the fan on for the streaming because it always helps keep the computer cool. There we go. But the grain I always feel like just does a little bit better. So I prefer to go liquid culture to grain most of the time, unless I'm doing a massive amount, and then I'll do liquid culture to a fruiting substrate. But for the cardboard spawn, grain or sawdust seems to do the best. Man, I need to take some photos of that. Actually, that would be wise to take those. I'm actually going to take one right now. Bam. Hey, Plum, what's going on? Welcome. We're just chit-chatting about the struggles of spring. As I said, you guys are welcome to ask as many questions as you want. I'm only going to be going for about another 30 minutes or so. I've got some more work I got to get done this evening, so it's going to be a short stream, an hour-long stream today. But do I have discounts for viewers of my channel? Rarely. Sometimes I do. I have some occasionally. When I was plugging the Mushroom Cast, we had regular weekly ones, and we have a thank you discount that most people get in their orders. So, after you do the first buy, but we don't tend to do a lot of discounts for that. Like discounts would, not that I'm not trying to get sales, but I sell premium quality stuff and I'm already a little overwhelmed. So going to be setting up a 10 by 10 pop-up tent to sell my mushrooms. Any pointers? Oh man, let me think about that for a second. So think free samples are a good thing to go no matter what you're doing. And I don't mean free samples for them to eat. Like Samantha used to give a free quarter pound to people. Like if people were like, I hate mushrooms, she's like, here, take a quarter pound. And they're like, what? And she's like, trust me, if you like them, you'll come back for more and you'll pay me for them. And if you like these, great, come back and you can feel free to pay me for them. And if you don't like them, then we'll call it good and we'll just go our separate ways. That's a good way. Aesthetic value is nice. There's a lot of good stuff out there about how to set up market tents with aesthetic value and stuff. But I will say, don't just sit there. That's the number one thing I think people get wrong. A lot of people want to sit there and have people come up and then they just want to answer the questions and do the deal. But be there, like people like to package stuff before market. Don't do that. Bring your mushrooms in a cooler, bring your paper bags or your baskets and start pulling stuff apart. I liked the paper bags because I would fold them down into baskets. Like the giant paper sandwich bags and stuff like that. Movement. People are attracted to movement. So stand if you can. I'm not saying that everyone can. I know some people can't. Some people might have some mobility issues or something like that. So a lot of people can't stand. If you can get a truck space and back your truck up and sit a little higher instead of sitting down low, it'll look like sitting on a truck, swinging your legs. That looks more active. But being there, just like enjoying the day, drinking your coffee, rolling your paper bags down into baskets, putting your mushrooms in them, that kind of thing. That always did us really well. I just felt like the activity would bring people in. When it gets real hot in the summertime, if you bring a little solar pump and a little misting, like a low pressure misting system, sometimes you can set that up, a little tank of water, have it kind of going. and people will gravitate towards that because they gravitate to the coolness. Let's see. Mm. Okay, so you're not asking about specific advice for like selling at market. You're asking for our general advice. You're asking about specific advice with the mushrooms. Keep them in a cooler, ice underneath. Keep the mushrooms out of the melted water. So you want to like I used to have like a wire rack that I would put on top of the ice, put the mushrooms in there. When the summertime comes on, a lot of times we might have a couple of baskets on the table, and then we would have mushrooms under the table or in the cool box just to keep stuff cold. That's always the biggest thing. Try to keep your mushrooms out of the sunlight because it'll dry them out faster. Ask your market manager if you can get a like literally your stuff can't sit in the sun the way tomatoes or something can. So if you can possibly get a one where you're going to be facing like the north side of the market kind of thing, that always works out really well. I feel like so that's the biggest thing is you're going to have to keep them out of the light and out of the heat. And that does mean you're gonna have to find other ways to make your table look full. So, glad to hear you're expanding and staying busy. I just bought a new farmer on island and have an 8,500 square foot greenhouse. Not like I have a full time job mushroom farm now, a big farm. Yeah, man, I feel you. That's we're doing the nursery and stuff, and it's keeps us busy. So in the winter, send me plants to trial out. I might do that. Yeah. I have a hard time with my tropicals in the wintertime. So no electricity, but I have a bunch of feather flag signs. Feather flag signs? What are feather flag? Oh, I got that. I do know what those are. Okay. Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff. No electricity. That's why we always bring stuff that's like 12 volt with the solar panel. You can get stuff on Amazon that's a complete kit a lot of times to get some movement. Yeah, people get curious when you've got that movement. People are honey is one of those things. I've seen honey farmers just sit there and sell all day long. Honey's an easy sell. Mushrooms, a lot of people aren't familiar with that, so you got to use things to get people in and talk to them. And then, like I said, that Samantha, I used to be look in horror as she would let my $5 basket of mushrooms just go away. But then people came back and they would become regulars. Not every person, but if we collected 10% of people coming back, and a lot of people would insist that they paid for that basket after all. And yeah, it worked out really, really well that way. So I just think that movement gets people are drawn to it. I have some pink oyster liquid culture 10 mils. I was thinking of just using a few drops to inoculate the amount of the cardboard you use. Will this work? Is 30 mils the standard size for your LC? No, our standard size is 10 mils. We used 3 syringes to do that last week. We do 10 mil syringes and 60 mil syringes, and then whenever I'm doing the 100 mils, I either hand pour or use a peristaltic pump to dose. So you could probably do a few drops on some cardboard, but what I would do, instead of trying to do a few drops to a large amount of cardboard, I would make grain spawn with it, or more liquid culture, and then dose more liquid culture to the cardboard, or make a very small amount of cardboard and inoculate that, and then use that cardboard to inoculate more cardboard, that kind of thing. So I like to stair step, I don't like to. In fact, I like as much biological material into for my inoculation as possible. Is usually the way I run on things. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone that walks by is a must. Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon. What is it that scene from Christmas Vacation? Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Kiss his ass or kiss my ass, kiss his ass, whatever. I'm not. That's what it always makes me think of. You get kind of, I get peopled out in market. I get peopled out. I'm a very social person, but I like smaller conversations, smaller, deeper conversations typically than the same kind of churn. And I've seen some people can just sell. And me, I just felt like movement, kind of like the mushrooms, and you get a feel. There are looky loos, a lot of looky loos when it comes to mushrooms, and like having the ability to like recognize when you've got people that are coming up just looky looing. They'll have the same questions, right? It's the same 5 questions you get every market, or say statements. Do you have any of the good kind? And that's usually what they want to do. They want to just come up and they want to just say that, and you're like, okay, haha, I've heard that 20 times today, but okay, haha. And then you've got it looks like coral. Oh, these are so beautiful. They could be flowers. These look too pretty to eat. That usually just means they don't want to eat them, but they do think that they're pretty. It's you eventually start learning, like, okay, some of these people are just never going to be hooked. But mushroom people, when you find mushroom people, you'll get fewer customers as a mushroom farmer, but a lot of times your customers will dig deeper into that product than like what other produce farmers get, because mushroom people love mushrooms and they'll keep coming back for them. Yeah, I just mean like whatever kind of box you're using to keep cool. So like a cooler works. And that's what I was saying. I typically use as a cool box kind of thing, is just with ice and a tray to keep the mushrooms out of the water. So that's a big must, because you don't want them to be soggy. Then you don't want them in the sun to be too dry either. Free samples is definitely a good idea. They get folks that normally wouldn't try to buy them, or at least possibly to at least try them. Yeah, I always wondered how many people just took them home out of like, they felt like they had to take them, and they would take them home and then just let them go to waste. But again, it was the cheapest, best advertising we ever did. So I got to thank Samantha for that. She really went with her instinct on that, and I'm glad she did. Is it worth growing chicken in the woods on blocks for commercial grows? Not for the most part, no. Also, what's your thoughts on freeze drying to ship mushrooms? You rock, Andrew. Well, thank you very much, Donovan. I'm not a big fan of freeze drying. Freeze drying does not cook the chitin down. I'm not like super against it, but I will say that I've known people who take freeze dried mushrooms. The people that have like taken powder supplements of the freeze dried mushrooms and ended up having stomach aches, and I think that's because they're not able to process the chitin. I like heat. I like heat processing. If you look at the way humans have traditionally consumed mushrooms, it's always been with some form of heat, whether that's boiling in water or what. And then as far as chicken of the woods, I never really had a problem getting them to grow, but it took a little while, and on like a 10-pound block, I might get a quarter pound of chicken of the woods. So that, is that like, but hen of the woods, you can get a lot more. So I do think chicken of the woods is got a lot of potential to be a good domesticated species. I really, especially, I think if you can get it to grow, and then spore print it, and then grow the spores out, and then select for the ones that grow, but then you're talking about a whole breeding program that you got to do, and it's not just a phenotype breeding program; it's a whole thing. So I think that's I don't think that it's worth doing necessarily, not yet. But if you may wanted to do a breeding program on it, I do think that it's ripe for domestication. So I think that is a one that could really work well. Just like I've said for a while, that I think pheasant's back meets all the qualifications for domestic production, but or commercial production even, but it's it needs to be selected for. It needs to be grown out some, and somebody needs to breed it to be easier to grow and easier to fruit. All right, y'all. Well, you guys are getting more questions for me to answer. We're going to hear a quick word from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back. Imagine a world where the most unique, rare, and powerful mushroom strains are preserved, studied, and shared with growers like you. That's exactly what we're building with the Mycologium, a living archive of fungal biodiversity, sourced from the wild, expanded in the lab, and made available for researchers, growers, and curious minds alike. But here's the best part. You can be a part of it. If you're a bioprospector, a forager, or just someone who loves finding cool mushrooms in the wild, you can send in your samples. If you send me in a wild mushroom and I can successfully clone it, I'll send you back a cleaned up culture of it. If you send me a culture that you've already cleaned up yourself, I'll send you one for our library, ready to grow, experiment with, or add to your collection. That's right. Culture for culture. You help expand the library, and you get something amazing in return. The goal? To preserve fungal diversity, to give people access to new genetics, and maybe, just maybe, to discover something truly groundbreaking. So if you've got an interesting mushroom, a rare find, or a strain that deserves a place in the archives, send it in. Let's build something incredible together. The Mycologium, preserving fungal biodiversity, one culture at a time. Want to learn more? Hit us up, shoot us a message, and let's keep spawning culture, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. No questions? Dang. Y'all are contented today. Joey, whoop whoop, long time no see. Welcome, Joey Langford, man. Glad to see you. Yeah, man. Every Thursday at 5 Eastern. So hopefully you'll come check me out some more. See my face a little bit more. Glad to have you, Joey. What are your thoughts on truffles in jars and with trees? If you've had the land and the time, is it worth setting up an operation? I think that it depends, which is kind of my key phrase, I guess. There are native truffles that are supposed to be really good eating, and I've heard about some programs working with those, and they're having really good results. I think Pikeville University is one of the ones working on it. As far as like in jars and with trees and stuff, if anyone's interested in cultivating truffles, I think a really good person to check out would be if you go to Facebook and go to the Mushroom Growing group on Facebook, and you look up Jasmine Richardson. I think pretty sure she did her doctoral thesis on truffles, and so she's got a lot of some really good information on that. She published on there for free, so you should definitely check some of that stuff out. Almost everybody I know who gets into truffles eventually gets back out of it. I've not seen anybody that's been in it. Like, there are people who've been in it for a very long time. But I don't know that they're very commercially relevant unless you're planting for other people. That's that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, as far as like doing plant tissue culture too, my understanding is from Jasmine's work is that truffles are a polyculture, and so there's some complexities there, I think, but I think it'd be worth doing. But the question is, what would be your ROI? So if you're just trying to research it, yeah, any of that stuff would be worth it at that point. But if you're looking to make an ROI on it, like a return on investment, then you're going to want to probably start in on something else that's going to pay the bills, and then get into your truffle research as a long-term play. There are people doing it, and there's definitely people who are having success, but most of them are not sharing the information if it's private. There is some university research going on, but again, a lot of times I see university research being done on stuff that somebody in the private industry is already doing, and the research, public research, is just catching up to it, kind of thing. So it depends. I know people probably get tired of hearing me say it depends. Because me, that's the answer to everything. It always depends. I'm just waking up from my micro depression, getting back to. Oh, I got you, man. Yeah, that happens. Everybody has their burnout at some point. You go whole hog. A lot of us mushroom people get tied into something. We go whole hog in it, and then we burn out. That's for sure. You got to have a lot of self care wrapped up in there, and you got to have planned breaks to get out of mushrooms and enjoy some other aspect of life. Some people, I don't know, some people can grind away at it, but I bounce. I tend to bounce. What's up, Andrew? Best wishes to you and Sam. Well, best wishes back to you, Colin. Thank you very much. Hope you're having a good day. If Schizophylum commune has 20,000 sexes mating pairs, does that mean that only 1 in 20,000 matings is just actually paired? Just curious. No, because let's say, you'll have this 1,000 will mate. Well, this 1,000 will mate. Okay, we'll take it like this. This one will mate with 4 or 5, right? And those 4 or 5 will each mate separately with like 4 or 5. So it becomes an interconnected web. It's not. I don't think it's a super clean cut one as far as that goes. They also like to boost that number, I feel like, a little bit. I don't think that's the most typical. It does have a lot, that's for sure. Yeah, I got you on that. Yeah. Would like to try growing truffles in the North Shore raised bed mushroom system. William Padilla Brown grows them and makes money selling truffle burgers. I've not seen him actually have any success growing them yet. I know that he buys in truffles and resells them. And I don't know that the North Shore bed system is a good way to go with that. I don't actually know if I like that North Shore bed system for almost anything. So, but truffle trees you could grow. Hazelnuts are oftentimes the one that they're paired up with as far as like the black truffle goes. So, it'd be fun to try. Morels and truffles are usually, and chanterelles sometimes are, but those first two are the main ones that people kind of go for. And they do have a good monetary value, but there's a lot of difficulties that really get in there. So, but I haven't seen Will actually grow any. And Will's always bouncing from one thing to another too. So you gotta. I will say that I saw that he got a grant to do some truffle work recently. So good on him for that. And he learned a lot of what he learned from some from Jasmine Richardson and some from a couple other guys that I've heard of. You waiting on me? What? So what? Oh, okay. And then you guys are heading out? All right. Well, let me know, and I can do a sponsor while I tell you guys goodbye. Yeah. It's me. Well, I've got House of Hydro on here, too. I got others I got to make. I'm just waiting until I get the new studio space made up. They sponsor you? He pointed at his work shirt and was like, they sponsor me. I heard somewhere that the active compounds are all present at the early growth of the fruit body. The active compounds don't increase as the fruit gets bigger. Does this sound right? I don't actually know on that. I know that's true a lot of times for, it's going to have all the cells that it's going to have at that point, and then it kind of pushes water into it and inflates those cells, and they stretch to a high degree. I don't know if all the compounds are there. I've never actually seen anything on that. So that would be interesting, but I don't know about that. I wonder if anyone ever grew cubes with cannabis inoculated cocoa to plant the seed into. I'm sure somebody did. There's got to be out of all the cannabis guys that get into cubes, there's got to be somebody that's done it, right? It's probably on it's probably on one of the forums somewhere, just like down low. If so, does this apply to Hericium? If drying for extracts, is it better to pick early to shorten grow time for the same amount of active compounds harvested? Yeah, that would make sense if that is the case. If all the compounds are there in the small amounts, then yeah, I mean it would make perfect sense. In fact, you'd want to pick early, um, and then still do about the same amount in the dry biomass. But I could totally see that maybe being the case, but I could also see the mushrooms as they're pushing water that way, enzymes are also getting pushed, or different molecules are getting pushed in with that water at the same time. So I could totally see that being the case, but I could also see that very easily not being the case. And maybe it's a species to species thing. So dang, look at that tan line. I'm gonna have to get like go out there shirtless or something and tan. With any more insights on grain pricing, any more insights on grain prices increasing, chat with local feed store, and they have been discussing how much prices may increase and the impact it will have on their business. I don't have any more up to date from last week. I've talked to a few grain farmers. That may be new. I can't remember if I said that last week or not, but talked to some grain farmers out west, and they're talking about the drought conditions that they've got. They've planted oats, they've planted a bunch of other grain, and it's just sitting in the field, not germinating. There's not been enough rain, so the drought may cause some price increases right there. And that's before the oil and fertilizer also hits. But I will say there's a bunch of farmers that I've talked to who are basically they're buying fertilizer just as they need it, and they're not buying larger amounts now. And then I've heard that there are some farmers who are just sitting the season out, just like they're expecting prices to rise, so they're just sitting the season out. I guess hoping the prices cost will go back down. So I think it's only going to go up. I can't see prices coming down. And I definitely think they're gonna go up in price. There's a lot of food waste in the American system, something like 20 to 30%. So if we have a decrease in production, and then an increase in cost that means the supply is lower, and then an increase in cost of doing business. That's a double whammy right there. But if the food chain tightens up, that doesn't actually help the farmers that much, because if I use less food or I waste less food and I buy less food, that actually lowers the amount of money that the farmer is going to make. So as far as I can tell, food prices are only going to go up. I can't see them going back down. I guess you could say I'm an expert in the agricultural system, but I'm not necessarily an expert in the economy. So we'll see. But I think they're going to go up, and I think they're going to increase a fair amount, because if fertilizer is 20% of the cost of food production, and that doubles, and which I can't remember what the numbers I saw, but it's shooting up pretty fast. If that cost doubles, then that doesn't necessarily double the cost of food, but then you also have the fuel, diesel in particular, which is used for running the planting machines, the harvesting machines. You have the transportation, you have heating and cooling, which is probably fairly safe, since our grid power is not typically, well, I guess natural gas, but we get a lot of natural gas here. So the argument that we make enough fertilizer here in North America from the Canadian system and the natural gas byproducts is, and that it shouldn't affect us, the supply wise. We participate in a global market, so if other countries start buying this stuff up from the United States, it drives our prices up. But the United States is also a net importer of oil, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for us. We just sold a bunch of our reserve too, I think, to keep the price down. And if that's the case, then the reserve will need to be refilled at some point, which hopefully, if gas prices come back down, or oil prices come back down, then they'll be able to restock up on that stuff. So train your dog if you want to get into troubles. That's probably the most fun way. That is supposed to be a really, really good way. Now, I would say the pigs. I've heard pigs are a lot better. So if I was to get a truffle farm, I'd probably get a couple of truffle pigs going and then see if I couldn't breed them and then use those to train their children to help, do that kind of thing. And then so as I started selling truffle trees, I would sell truffle pigs, right? Take people on walks through my truffle yards or truffle orchards. And then I would want to do hazelnut so that I could get like hazelnut production as well as, the truffles themselves eventually. Hey, Dish, thank you very much. I'm doing fairly well. I'm having a bad day today. I'll be honest. Like I was telling people earlier, I've broken everything I've touched today around the op. I broke our laser. I've broken glass petri dishes. I broke the grain cart. So I've got a lot of repairs I got to do. I burned out the elements on the boiler, being an idiot. So it is just one of those days. I don't know why I have just destroyed accidentally, just even stuff like it just touching stuff and it just falls apart. So rough day, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm blessed that I can have these rough days. 16 people who need to like the stream. Trialing out. Hey, yeah, that's right. 16 people need to like the stream. Trialing out my second wild Bama line. Fingers crossed. Well, good luck to you, man. I love Hericium. I love it. I wish it didn't hurt my lungs so bad. I must be doubly sensitive to it or something like that. But Hericiums are one of my all-time favorites to grow. But it's another reason I'm going to the in vitro cold room so I can grow stuff out in bags like enoki and things. For people that do aquaponics and aquaculture, any ideas where we could fit in a mushroom something? So if you could do grow blocks in sandbanks which help plant growth, is there any other ideas? So I've used spent blocks as filters. They work pretty well. They fall apart. They do produce methane eventually. So there's that. One way, honestly, for our aquaculture stuff, shrimp, like if you will take a little bit of spent substrate, you can throw just a little bit into an aquarium with like cherry shrimp, and they will graze the bacteria that grow off the spent substrate as it breaks down. You don't want so much that it produces a toxic amount of methane or anything like that, but it will. Bacteria loves our mycelium, as we all know. Which means that when you put it in that aquatic environment, it can actually help grow the biofilm for shrimp. A lot of times you can do worm farms, and then that will, you do your spent blocks to worms, and then worms can feed your fish. But you also have the worm leachate, the drippings that come through that, and we've got a little, collection on there on the bottom there that we can do, and that acts as a great liquid fertilizer for aquarium plants. I've used that for years. And you just do a little pour right across the top of your fish tank. And A, it adds bacteria, and B, because from the worms are very bacterially active. And then you have the fertilizer. It just makes aquarium plants go crazy. And that's a great way to go. So I also use like marshy plants, marsh loving plants. So cattails, water irises, even water lilies, that kind of stuff. Stuff that likes high organic matter. Yeah, I think aquatic systems are oftentimes full of organic matter. And that high organic matter, well, the spent mushroom blocks are high organic matter. So you can use a little bit of that substrate. So we'll do like felt bags. We'll do rocks in the bottom, a little spent mushroom substrate, maybe some more soil, a little sand, something like that. And then you plant your plants into that. They'll grow their roots down. They'll reach that organic matter, and they'll go crazy. So that's kind of the ways we fit mushrooms into that. As far as like fruiting mushrooms off aquaponics, I've tried it a few times. It usually just ends up with waterlogged mushrooms, spores being dumped in your water. It's not my favorite way to go. I've wondered about reishi, like pony logs. Like, could you take reishi? Because every time I've ever found reishi in the wild around here, it's always growing on a dead spar of wood that's like sticking out of the water. And usually the reishi is like a few inches above the water line. So I've thought about doing pony logs and put them up in like my flow through trays, my plant trays, and then letting it see if reishi will grow. And I thought that would be a really interesting way to grow reishi if that would work. And I'm going to try that this year. Do you ever grow? Oh, absolutely. I grow my own tobacco for sure. I had a plant out front 2 years ago in one of the tubs that we do the spit mushroom sub in. And that plant was 14, 16 feet tall. It was taller than the eave of our building here. And I had so many people stop in and tell me I needed to top it. And it's true that if I was growing that one for tobacco production, I would top it. But I didn't want to top it. I was growing it for the flowers. I was literally growing it for the seeds, so I wanted the flowers. And then I had 3 separate occasions where either Samantha or I would come outside and there was somebody stripping tobacco leaves off my plant. Just pulled in and just started pulling leaves. And I was like, whoa, what are you doing? You know, the time I found them, and they're like, oh, did you want this? Yes, that's why it's growing behind a fence with razor wire. What are you doing? Like, it's just weird. Truffle pigs are difficult because they will eat the truffles before you get to them. Yeah, that's true. I had that problem with Teddy's mom. We used to use her to hunt morels and stuff, and she would go roll in them. She'd chew them up. She'd eat them. So it was hard to get morels. When she got the scent and she started going for them, you had to follow right behind and make sure that you got to them first, or she would destroy them. Did you ever set up a black soldier fly farm? I did, and I am setting up auto harvesters this year. I want to do the self-harvesting bins. So I hadn't done those before, but I've been wanting to do the self-harvesting black soldier fly bins, and I want to do them on a shelf just out here on the front dock, and basically just go to one, fill it full of spent mushroom substrate, throw in the cardboard for the egg laying, close it up, and then just every day, after a little while, come start checking. Then you get the next one, and I get black soldier fly larvae in all of my compost piles, so it'd be pretty easy to throw the first batch in and just get them where they're constantly doing their own thing there. And then so I got to get to work on those. Actually, that's another thing I want to build out, because black soldier fly larvae, man, all the chicken raiser people around here they will trade me dozens of eggs for black soldier fly larvae. They would mealworms too, but I'm not going to do mealworms anymore. And then that's pretty much what I want to do, because I want to get them out there, but it needs the heat. We're not hot enough yet for the black soldier fly larvae, really. But I plan on doing a lot more of them, and we're going to feed our tilapia off of them as well. The good news is truffle pigs taste good. That's true. I bet. So I've had pigs finished on chestnuts before, and you can absolutely taste the chestnuts in the meat. And so I've wondered if you could do the same thing with truffles. So we'll see about that. We'll get there eventually. Hold on a second. My phone started dinging, and it was distracting. So I was just going to leave the paper on. Well, yeah, because I figured the spray paint. Because I'm going to use it as a stencil to spray paint. I mean, you can leave it shiny. It's just going to get covered in paint. You're fun. Do what? You forgot his license? I mean, you can step in the back. Nobody's going to mind. Hey, guys, I'll be right back. Word from a sponsor. Hey, folks. Welcome to another sponsorship for the Mushroom Cast. We're always talking about dialing in your grow setup. And when it comes to humidity, there's one name we trust, House of Hydro. These foggers are an absolute game changer for mushroom cultivation. House of Hydro's ultrasonic humidifiers put out an incredibly fine, cool mist. So fine, in fact, that mycelium can actually uptake it straight from the air. That means better hydration, better growth, happier mushrooms, and better yields. And let me tell you, these things are way easier to vent around your op than setting up full-on plumbing pressure systems. No pipes, no hassle, just perfect humidity right where you need it. And when you're working with the best, you want the best support. John at House of Hydro takes care of his customers better than anyone in the game. If you ever need help, they've got you covered. And because House of Hydro is sponsoring the Mushroom Cast, we've got a deal for you. Use code MOSSY at checkout and you'll get a full set worth of free replacement discs with your order. It's up to a $50 value. Get yourself a House of Hydro fogger. Your mushrooms will thank you. Keep spawning culture, y'all. Yeah, man, he's hiding from you. Welcome back, guys. I'm going to jump off here in a minute, but imagine if you could compress tobacco stalks into a block and make an actual pack. That would be kind of cool. I wonder how you would have to preserve that. I will say, white rot fungi. I've tried them many times when I'm cooking them or burning them. It smells like burnt hair. So you would not want to smoke it, I imagine. Chitin does not burn well, and it smells like hair, which ours is not chitin. Love you, bud. Chitin, what is our hair is made out of keratin. And so I think they're very similar structures. Somebody corrected me. I said chitin the other day or a few weeks back, and somebody reminded me that it was keratin that our fingernails and hair is made of. My face baleen, my filter feeder stuff. So I think it would be really cool. Well, guys, I've got about 100 water lilies I need to dice up and start getting the rhizomes done. So I'm gonna start working on that and get ready for this plant sale this weekend. Let's see, what else we got coming up mushroom wise. We got a couple classes coming up. We got another extracts class that's been pushed back a week, and then we've done Ed Grant. We don't know when we're going to do his class yet. I need to talk to him today, so I'm trying to send him a message. We'll get that announced for the mushroom breeding class, and then we'll have a gardening with mushrooms class that is also being pushed back a week because it is going to be cold this weekend. And so it's not really going to be worth doing the gardening class, the gardening with mushrooms class this weekend. Because I'm about to bring all my plants and stuff inside. But that is Tennessee in May. Tennessee is in spring is a spring, winter, hot summer. So if you guys ever have any more questions or need anything from me, go to the contact us form on mosscreekmushrooms.com. As always, y'all, thanks for being with me and keep spawning culture.
Step into the lab, lights hum like a starship dock. Pine logs stacked like data banks in a cube block. I calibrate climates while the timeline bends. Writing fungal code loops only mycelium sends. I navigate ecosystems with instinctive precision. Every egg played a portal to a parallel vision. Mentorships spin up like reactors at dawn. You want a culture revolution, then you better respond. We fracture the boundaries of the natural order. Make Reishi bloom sideways like a space-time border. I'm an Appalachian alchemist, wild ridge born, with a druid's intuition and a mind full of spores.
Keep spawning culture.
We're the network underfoot, the unseen sculpture.